This is an introduction to English Grammar Part 14, Adjectives. My name is Karen and this is for a course given at the University of Utah. We'll be looking at adjectives right now, and we have some different types of things we're going to look at what adjectives do. So we're going to look at the comparative and superlative forms, when they are attributing information to something else, so when they're giving us more information about a noun, when they can act as complements, and when they happen as relative clauses, which we're going to revisit from our section on relative pronouns. So adjectives, they modify nouns. Modify means to give some information about. Adjectives can come in regular, comparative, and superlative forms. The formation of the comparative and the superlative is a little bit tricky depending on the structure of the word. Prescriptive rules say that superlative forms are only for comparisons among more than two things. So comparatives are used when we're comparing two things, and superlatives are used when we're comparing more than two things. So according to the prescriptive rules, comparative forms, right, when we're doing two items. So here we have Bill and we have Sam. Okay, Bill is taller than Sam, so we use taller instead of tallest. We wouldn't say Bill is tallest than Sam, but we use taller, the comparative form, when we have two things. Sam is more attractive than Johnny. Superlative forms are used when the adjective is for more than two items. Okay? Sarah is the cutest girl I know, meaning that I know more than two girls. Okay? Jenny is the most popular girl in school. Again, more than two girls in school. There's some variation, though, for how we use the adjectives with two syllables. Okay? So when we have more than two syllables, we use more and most before. When we have just one syllable and sometimes two syllables, we use ER, so taller and tallest. But here we have an example where we have some variation that's going on. Pavarotti is the most handsome of the three tenors. For me is grammatically correct. My mental grammar says that's okay. The second one, Pavarotti is the handsomest of the three tenors. My grammar often accepts that. It depends on the circumstances. For you, it may be okay with your mental grammar and it may not be. So think about what are some reasons why this variation occurs. Okay? Another example would be the word fun. So prescriptive rules say that if we have a word with just one syllable, we should use ER. Yet it's often incorrect in our mental and prescriptive grammar to say funner. Okay? But I often hear people say funnest. So it's more rare to hear someone say, ooh, that was funner than yesterday. But it's really common for people to say, oh, that was the funnest activity. Okay? Again, some variation is occurring where the language is making a change. Adjectives can also be accompanied by modifiers of their own. In the next presentation, we're going to see that these modifiers are called adverbs in this slide. So these particular modifiers are adverbs, modifying adjectives. So we call these types intensifiers. So an adjective is giving us some information. The intensifier is giving us some, like making that information even more. Okay, so I am very unhappy. The intensifier is very, adjective is happy. I could just say I am happy, but to make it even more so, then I say I am very happy. Okay? I heard a somewhat unusual story. She considered a question very annoying. Another way that adjectives can be modified is to have complements inside of the adjective phrase. So adjective complements are words that complete the meaning of an adjective. If you remember when we learned about complements before, we were learning about how complements give information about a noun phrase. Now we're seeing some complements that give us information about an adjective, okay, that completes the adjective phrase. So she was scared, scared is the adjective, to ask a question. Okay, adjective complement. The whole underlined portion here is the adjective phrase. Adjective phrases can function as subject complements, okay, like I am very happy. So am in this case is a linking verb that links the subject with its complement. And we see here that in our adjective phrase we have both an adjective and an intensifier, which, like I said, we're going to learn in the next presentation that very is an adverb. Okay? They can also occur as an object complement, where we're giving more information about the complement, or excuse me, where we're giving information that complements the object instead of the subject. Okay, so she considered a question very annoying. They can also be attributive. Attributive means that they are coming before the noun. So they're giving us information, but they're inside of the noun phrase. Okay, I heard a somewhat unusual story. So in this case, we have a noun phrase, a story, and then in between the determiner a and the noun story, we have this adjective phrase that appears that's describing the story. So we can either have adjective phrases that come before a noun, giving information about the noun, or they can happen like a complement coming after the noun. We also have those adjective clauses that we learned in a couple presentations ago that were relative clauses. Okay, here's the example. So that's the beautiful woman. Here we have underlined just an attributive adjective, an adjective phrase, not a clause, because remember a clause has both a subject and a verb. And then we have the second one, that's the woman who stole my car. Here we have a relative clause. So the underlined part, who stole my car, is giving us information about the woman. So about the noun phrase. And it's a clause itself because it has both a subject, in this case replaced by the word who, and the verb stole. So here's what you need to know about adjectives. That was short and sweet. Adjectives have lots of different forms or types. We have some that are attributive, that are giving us information before the noun or inside of the noun phrase. We have those relative clauses, and then we have those complement ones. We also have those comparatives and superlatives. Okay? What's important to remember about adjectives is that they always modify nouns or noun phrases. When we get to adverbs, they modify everything, but adjectives just modify nouns.